Welcome to the alternate bat pattern lesson. In this lesson we are going to take a look at a variation of the bat pattern, which is commonly termed the most harmonic move of any pattern. We'll explain why the alternate bat pattern was deemed necessary and what to look for to complete this pattern. As we've done before, we'll define the PRZ and take a look at a marked example. The alternate bat pattern was born out of the inability of the XA retracement to hit the desired retracement of 0.5. Instead, it would fall short near the 382 level and continue on to complete at the 886 of the XA. The only problem with this is that the pattern did not respect the 886 level like a traditional bat and continued until it stopped out the standard bat before turning. This pattern will look familiar to the bat pattern in that it is an M and W type structure but will require different Fibonacci levels. On your left will be the bullish alternate bat and on your right will be the bearish alternate bat. This starts out with the standard X to A impulse leg. This no longer must be the longest leg and will no longer encompass the entire pattern within the X to A leg like the standard bat pattern. It can still be the longest leg, but it doesn't have to be, and it still needs to be an overall impulse leg. Then we get our A to B retracement. Like the bat pattern, this has a very defined level in that it must be a 382 retracement or lower. The standard bat pattern would be a 50 retracement. So we are taking a failed bat pattern retracement and trying to make a new pattern. Then we get the A to B retracement. The A to B retracement we are looking for is a 382 retracement or less. The standard bat pattern uses a 0.5 retracement. However, this one we use a 382 retracement because this 0.5 retracement was not being hit. So a 382 sets up the C to D leg. The next point we're looking for is the B to C leg. Just like the standard bat pattern, we are looking for a 382 to an 886 retracement. Then we get the C to D leg, which is going to be vastly different than the standard bat pattern. The B to C projection utilizes an extreme harmonic ratio here with at least a 2.0 to 3.618. The extension is more frequently between 2.618 to 3.14. However, anything between 2.0 and 3.618 is considered valid. The 1.13 X to A extension should not be exceeded as most valid reversals rally shortly after testing this area. In addition, the AB equals CD pattern within the alternate bat is always extended and usually requires a 1.618 AB equals CD calculation. Moving on to the PRZ, we are going to take a close look at the stop area and our targets, as the stop area will be different than we have used before. Let's define this area. First, we have the 1.618 AB equals CD calculation. Next, we are looking for a 2.0 to 3.618 BC projection. However, our most harmonic move is between 2.618 and 3.14. And finally, we have a 1.13 XA extension that we should not exceed because most of our reversals will happen once we get to this level. Okay, so stops are generally tight. Since the X point cannot provide structure for us, we use the 1.13 XA and it should not be surpassed. So we put our stops really tight behind the 1.13 XA. Targets are our standard targets in that we take the A to D retracement and look for the 382 and the 618. Walking through a scenario here, the 2.0 to 3.618 BC projection and the 1.13 XA projection would come in at a very tight confluence. So let's walk through something. We would have price rally into the PRZ zone, most likely testing the 1.13 XA before it rallies out. Stop area must be very tight here because in this extended area, we could actually have a breakout. So we want to make sure our stops are very, very tight. Now let's take a look at a real market example like we have done before. See if you can spot the alternate bat pattern. This one would be a little bit more difficult to spot as the B to C retracement is quite small. So take a moment, see if you can spot it. Okay, and I will draw it and label it as I go. We have our X to A retracement. So we have X to A. And then let's make sure our B point comes in at the correct area. And our B point comes in, just nicks the 382, which is good. So this is a valid pattern. So we have our A to B, right here. And let's label the B point. And then you can see the C point is quite small. So let's make sure that works as well. And it's kind of tough to see. Let me see if I can get up there. Just goes past the 382, almost gets to the 50, which all we have to do is get to the 382. So that is a valid retracement. Now, whether you want the retracement to be more than 2 bars is up to you. However, the way that we trade and the way we endorse trading is as long as we get our retracement, as long as the Fibonacci ratios are there, it is a valid trade. And then we have our C to D. And this one's going to be a little bit trickier because we have more than one Fibonacci ratio. So we have our B to C and then C to D. And let's make sure the D point comes in. So the D point, we're looking for a BC projection of 2.618 to 3.14, or anything between 2.0 and 3.618. So let's look for the projection. And to get the projection, we're just going to go from the C point up to the B point and back down to the C point. And you can see the 3.618 comes in a little bit low. And this is just because the B to C is not real large. So I'm just going to mark this area. And then we're looking for a 1.13 X to A extension. And to get this, we just take our extension tool and we look for X to A extension. And we come in right here with the 1.13. And this is our critical move, or our critical point in this pattern, because we don't want anything beyond the 1.13, and we place our stops just beyond this. So our PRZ is defined here, and obviously we're looking for something in here that tells us that we can get short. Now, once it rallies up into here, you can see a little bit of chop, but no clear signal that we're getting short. And you can see that we also that we want to play this pretty tight with our stops. So ideally, we're going to wait for the 1.13 XA to come in before we actually take our position. And the reason for that, especially in this scenario, is the BC projection here is quite a bit away from the 1.13 XA. So we want to take the best possible trade we can. So let's see if I can fatten this up a little bit for you. And again, our stop. So here's the top point on this one is 88.35. So we will go probably just at, since we're on the daily, 88.50. Now, could this have worked out? I mean, it could have worked against us, obviously. All patterns have a chance to work against you. But the reason we're going to do, and the reason I've explained before, the reason we do a tight stop is you can see the structure that we can see right now on the screen. All of it is below this 1.13 XA extension. And this is supposed to be an outside of the X point pattern. So we want a tight stop so that if we push up past the X point and we get a sudden breakout, we're only losing a small amount. Okay, so that's why we have a tight stop. Let's set our targets. So let's say we went in right here on this doji. We went down to a smaller time frame, and I'll say we went in right there at the bottom of the doji, and we'll set our targets here at 382 and 618. We can erase the bottom of the PRZ. Okay, and we can erase our fib retracement. So we have our entry right about here with our stop. And again, the best way to figure this out is to just put a sample position in here. And to do this, I'm going to have to scroll up a little bit, grab this. So there's our stop. Our first target is 4.6 to 1, and our second target would be 7.5 to 1. So this is a very good risk reward ratio. Obviously, this is handpicked and this is a wonderful pattern and it makes it look, great. How great would it be to make 5 to 1 on my first target and 7 to 1 on my second target? It'd be wonderful. Obviously, not every time this pattern works. So this is why we have the tight stop. So we would rally up into this. I'd wait for my signal, most likely going down to a smaller time frame to get my signal. We rally down into the 382 level. Again, I move my stops to break even to protect myself. We then see the 382, which comes in at some structure here, just to the left. It plays a little bit there, but finally we get a huge rollover after a little bit of a break all the way down into our 618. And if you would have went down, obviously, we had quite a move here on the daily. So we would have been stopped, or we would have taken both of our profits here. You could have chosen to, I guess, follow it a little bit. That's if you want to. However, the way I recommend that you do it is just like we do it, and that's rolling your stops once you get to the 382 and then taking your profit at the 618. To close out this lesson the proper way, let's go over the key points again. First, stops are generally tight since the X point cannot provide structure. This is to protect us from a breakout. Second, the 1.13 XA should not be surpassed. This is where our stop should be placed just past. And third, the BC projection utilizes an extreme harmonic ratio that has to be at least a 2.0 extension, but is more frequently between 2.618 and 3.14.